So, the use of open prisons has come under the spotlight after not one, not two, but three men escaped from a jail on the same day. Joshua Terry, Levi Mitchell and Aidan McGuinness all went missing from Hollesley Bay Prison in Suffolk on Saturday, and the police has warned the public not to approach any of those men. If you're watching us on TV or online, you'll be able to see their mugshots. Now, Terry was jailed for a fray, threatening a person with a blade or sharply pointed article in a public place, and theft. I'm joined now by former prison governor Vanessa Frake. Vanessa, thank you very much. Some people have always been quite sceptical about the concept of open prisons. Are they right?
I'm really sorry. I have no sound.
Oh, OK. Well, we'll have to go back to Vanessa, unfortunately, once we've sorted that issue out. But let me just run you through that story. There's a remarkable turn of events that one individual absconded early doors on Saturday. Word clearly got round at that prison, and then two other gentlemen decided that they were going to leave as well. So they have now wandered out, and that is the very latest. You'll be able to see their faces on your screens now if you're watching us on TV. That's Joshua Terry, Levi Mitchell and Aidan McGuinness, who all went missing from Hollesley Bay Prison in Suffolk on Saturday. I'm going to delve into the world of my inbox now, gbviews at gbnews.com. Arthur's been on. Now, there's been quite a lot for you to get your teeth stuck into so far today. We're talking about calls of jihad on the streets of Britain, the police saying that didn't really matter at all. Also, what Rishi Sunak has had to say there in the House of Commons about them being pretty convinced that Hamas or a terror group linked to Hamas were the ones responsible for that hospital blast in Israel. Arthur says, Patrick, what a mess this UK is in. You know, 2 world wars, millions of dead. For what? For this? A country we no longer recognise and a government that can't govern. Those are Arthur's views. There's a lot of this coming in at the moment. I don't understand why people in this country don't respect our culture, says Sheila. Thank you very much, Sheila, for that. Yeah, a heck of a lot of this coming in right now. A lot of anger about the actions that were taking place over the course of the weekend. I believe we might be able to go back now to Vanessa Frake, former prison governor. Yes, we are. So, open prisons we were talking about. 3 people have legged it from one prison in the same day, apparently. We're being told, don't approach them if you see them on the street. Do open prisons work?
Now, that's the $64,000 question, isn't it, Patrick? I think, you know, open prisons have a place in society the same as a Category A prison has. With prisoners who are serving sentences, you need to prepare them for their release, and that is the job of an open prison. I mean, 3 in one day, I grant, is pretty unusual. But if they, you know, G up together and decide to go together, well, you know, there's very little you can do about that. I will say, though, that Hollesley Bay has got an excellent track record. I think in their last inspectorate report, they had something like 15,000 temporary releases over the course of 12 months and only absconded a handful of prisoners. Now, that is a really good way to look at it. You know, I understand that the police are very sceptical about prisons and about prisoners who abscond, but you know, in a prison environment, these guys are low-level criminals. Yes.
Well, yeah. Let me. I'll run through. For just for a little bit of context, I'll give the. I'll give their rap sheet. Yeah, I'll give their rap sheet here, right? So, we've got one individual who. Terry is serving 2 years and 4 months for a fray, threatening a person with a blade in a public place, theft. We've also got another chap here, multiple burglary offences, and then another one who is, again, theft, fraud, possession of a controlled drug of Class B. So none of them are rapists or murderers or terrorists, so I get that. I just wonder whether or not an open prison is a deterrent at all. I mean, clearly this lot do not fear getting caught, do they? Otherwise you wouldn't have left. I mean, they can't have had that long left to serve anyway.
Well, you wouldn't have thought so. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, and I don't know whether there were any triggers that may have made them abscond. And can I just clarify that they absconded from prison? They didn't escape. And abscond is when they walk out of a jail on temporary release. They don't return. Yes. And there is it is an actual criminal offence not to comply with the release of your temporary release conditions. So actually, when they are returned to prison, and they'll go back to a closed prison and put themselves back quite severely, they can actually be taken to court and get another 2 years on top. So, it's not all good news for them. They may think that, walking out of a jail is all great and brave, but actually it's not. There are going to be consequences of that, and the police will catch up with them. But I do think it's important to state that, open prisons in this country do have a place, and they have a place for those prisoners who do conform and who do go on to be released into society and lead law-abiding and useful lives. And that is what we want as a society.
Vanessa, thank you very much, as ever. Great to chat to you. Vanessa Frake there is a former prison governor. So, yes, maybe not so much of a jailhouse shock for a lot of people who think that open prisons and the ability to go out into the community and being trusted to come back might, in some ways, pose an abstention risk.